AEW Dark has officially settled into its position as a B show, even though that is a really disparaging term, but it's well worth a watch if you aren't checking it out, because you get little recaps from Dynamite and you get little story things here and there, and you get mini evolutions when it comes to characters. But the great thing is, if you do want to pretend it doesn't exist, you can just watch me instead, and I'll let you know what happened. My name is Simon Miller. Welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling. Let's up those downs for this week's AEW Dark. Lots of stories from Dark this week, which I always enjoy. I'm a story type of a guy. Not only did we recap everything that had gone on Dynamite over the past week, we also learned that Nyla Rose, the dastardly Nyla Rose, had attacked Shayna at some kind of autograph signing, which means instead of Shayna being the guest commentator, it was Nyla Rose. She turned up and she was very pleased to be there. Talking of stories, that also tied into our first match, which was Brandon Cutler versus Jimmy Havoc. Can have it up. Both men have absolutely terrible win-loss records, and that tied into the overarching narrative here. And I don't know whether I've missed this, or I've been living under a rock, or every time Brandon Cutler has made his entrance, I've been watching it like this. But why is his entrance attire? Well, basically, his entrance attire makes him look like Kratos from God of War. I mean, look, fair play. Kratos, he's a badass. More people should probably try and look like Kratos, me included. The issue being that nobody will be a better Kratos than Triple H. But that aside, I wanted to let you know. Anyway, like I say, stories. After he went bonkers with a staple gun recently and got a $10,000 fine, Jimmy Havoc didn't want to use said staple gun again, because, you know, that would be $20,000, which is a lot of cash. So even though the fans were going, Jimmy, use a staple gun, he was like, I'm not doing it, you assholes. At first, anyway, because then for some reason, halfway through, he just lost his mind and went absolutely ballistic, and he got the staple gun into the ring. But even then, calmer heads prevailed, and he gave it to the referee, and as soon as the referee was dealing with that, he just kicked Brandon Cutler right in the balls. The Brit then relied on biting, and I guess that worked because moments later he hit the Acid Rainmaker and he was able to get the victory. So now Jimmy Havoc is making his way back up the ranks, or that's what I should be saying, but he couldn't control his temper because even though the match was finished, he then got his staple gun back and he actually stapled one of his checks to Brandon Cutler's head. I mean, you haven't thought about Mr. Cutler there at all, have you, Mr. Havoc? He now has to go to all his holiday engagements with a big, welt in his forehead. It is wrestling nerd time, though, and you know we have to activate the switch. Duh. And here comes me as a wrestling nerd. I do apologize because after this, backstage, Brandon Cutler was saying to Jimmy Havoc, bro, what is your problem? Which actually is a very fair question. And when AEW management tried to get involved and said, Jimmy, you've done it again, now we're going to fine you once more, Havoc just went, oh yeah, well you can keep doing that, but I won't pay the fine. I mean, what are you talking about? That's not how companies work. If you're going to fine someone, you don't just sit around going, has he paid the fine yet? No, he hasn't paid the fine. Well, somebody make him pay the fine. You take it out of his wage packet. That was ridiculous. I know, what a petty thing to get wound up about, but those things matter. Down. We then had more promotion for Dynamite as we saw the Dark Order promotional video once again, and also got yet another recap of Cody getting attacked by the Butcher and the Blade. Who? Exactly. Right, I like Shawn Spears versus Sonny Kiss. It was a very easy to watch match. The Sonny Kiss kind of got squashed here. I mean, not really, it went a little bit of time, and I do enjoy the fact that we are varying up match durations, but I was a little bit surprised. Still up. There was some gaga where after Sonny Kiss had been doing all his usual stuff, you know, with his ass and all of that, Shawn Spears retaliated by flexing his rectum. So that's something that I've seen today. But it did work because he then dropped Sonny Kiss on the apron, which is the hardest part of the ring in case you're interested, and then hit the C4 to get the victory. And that's kind of it outside of all of this. Once Sonny Kiss had done all of his shtick, it just got beaten up. And that was also true post-fight because Tully Blanchard and Shawn Spears gave him a spike pile driver. So man, he just got jobbed into the ground. And also if I'm Sonny Kiss now, I'm like, man, I gotta get my revenge against Shawn Spears. So how does that tie in to the Shawn Joey Janela feud? So I don't know, maybe this is gonna become like a three-way. That would be interesting. Maybe it's just something that AEW threw onto Dark because it's just nice to do things, which is true. A commercial for Chris Jericho's own champagne followed, and isn't that just wonderful? Especially because it actually did sell out, and now AEW are trying to restock it. I mean, if you had told me 10 years ago that a 49-year-old Chris Jericho was going to be able to sell out of his own bubbly, I would have told you were absolutely, well, crazy, Turns out I would have been a moron. Also got updates on everything between the Inner Circle and Dustin Rhodes, and we saw Christopher Daniels attack Pentagon after last week's AEW Dynamite to reaffirm that later on this Wednesday evening, we are going to be getting Christopher Daniels versus Pentagon, which is nice. I mean, that story's been going on since what, like All Out or Full Gear, whenever. It has been a long ass time. In but a few hours, we are going to get the culmination of that. AEW Dark then aired the Jurassic Planet video that has already been doing the rounds on YouTube, and I am going to give them a round of applause for doing that, but also say you should put this on Dynamite because it's wonderful. If you haven't seen it, like I say, it's on YouTube right now. You can just Google it and have a little look. It is a mockumentary featuring Luchasaurus, Marko Stunt, and Jungle Boy, and it is exactly the right side of nonsense that I like in my pro wrestling. I know there's going to be old men out there going, I don't care about that. I like having fun. This is fun. Which did indeed then lead us to our main event, which was Marko Stunt and Jungle Boy taking on the proud and the powerful. And I've got to say, like, Jungle Boy and Marko Stunt, they kind of suck when it comes to their wins-loss record, because I think both of them are 0-8 and 0-9. I understand this. They are like the young pups coming up the promotion, but you can't keep doing that all the time, All Elite Wrestling. Sooner or later, like, if they get to 0-20, I'm just going to point my finger at them and go, you are a bunch of losers. But for now, I'm going to point my finger that way and give it a nub. And the idea basically was just that. The prehistoric duo are green, they are inexperienced. Ortiz and Santana, they've got the know-how, so they kept cutting them down and cutting them off whenever they could. At one point, they even set them up onto chairs, and Ortiz just cannonballed into both of them. There was no way that didn't hurt. We also had this absolutely ludicrous suplex spot, so much so it made my voice go all wibbly wobbly. But basically, Marko Stunt was probably held up in the air for legitimately maybe 3.5 to 4 minutes as the proud and the powerful kept tagging in and tagging out and just switching who was holding Marko Stunt. I mean, even after Marko had reversed it into a surprise package out of nowhere, they just suplexed him again. I would argue this maybe went a little bit too long. That all continued until we did build to the hot tag, and fair play to Marko and Jungle, they know exactly what they're doing, because as soon as you get that hot tag, they just rock it out of the blocks, and they're moving so fast you can actually believe, okay, they're not the biggest dudes in the world, but if something is moving like Sonic the Hedgehog, I can believe in it. And if you still think their characters should be there a bunch of novices, you got that, because Marko Stunt was going to go for a Dragon Rana off the top rope, but when Jungle Boy got pulled off the apron, he was distracted because he's a moron. That allowed Proud and the Powerful to get the win after a Ligo bomb, and also when Marko Stunt got kicked right in his stupid face. Not really a stupid face. I was just adding that for like effect. I like Marko Stunt. I interviewed him here on WhatCulture Wrestling. He's a very nice man, and I hope he's successful. Amazingly, we even had a feel-good ending, even though it was dark, because afterwards the bad guys were beating up Marko Stunt and Jungle Boy, and Sammy Guevara came out to film it because he's well into vlogging, and that brought Luchasaurus out to try and calm things down. But then Jake Hager was walking to the ring, and he got into it with Luchasaurus until eventually the Inner Circle were up once again. It meant the Young Bucks felt like they also had to run into it, and eventually everybody was beating up Sammy Guevara, like I say, to send the crowd home with smiles on their faces. And again, I didn't see that coming. I didn't think we were going to have like a WrestleMania-esque ending for Dark. It wasn't a WrestleMania ending at all, but you know, it did. It made you feel good. It made you happy, like, oh, all these wonderful faces that I enjoy have managed to vanquish the bad guys, at least for the last few seconds. Which brings us to the end of AEW Dark, and as I always say, it's just very nice and easy to watch. You get up, it's on YouTube, it's accessible. I think this one was like 1 hour and 2 minutes, and after used to Raw being 3 hours, and even SmackDown and AEW Dynamite being 2, or a pay-per-view being 3.5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 422 hours, this is just a breeze. You can watch it when you're making your breakfast, or if you're watching it live when you're making your dinner, or just about when you're going to rest your sleepy eyes. I just like it. I just enjoy it. We don't even need the overall grade arrow. When we do it, it's going to get an up. I mean, until it like falls off a cliff, I'm probably always going to give it up because we grade on a curve. And this is meant to be a B show, even though it doesn't sound very nice. What are you going to do? Shoot me? Well, don't do it. You go to jail. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about AEW Dark. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you watch it? Would you like it? It just went away for good. Head on over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. You know how much I regret doing that? If a scale is like 0 to 10, 0 meaning I didn't regret it at all, and 10 meaning I regret it massively, it's a 10. Much like Shawn Spears, who of course used to be in WWE. and he did the 10 gimmick. My name is Simon for WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching, and remember to always stay up to date with the ups and downs journey. I mean, this week alone, we've done ups and downs for Starrcade, ups and downs for Raw. We just done ups and downs for Dark. We'll do ups and downs for Dynamite, and we'll do ups and downs for SmackDown. And that way, I watch wrestling so you don't have to. And you can still watch it and then come here to see what I thought. But if there's a show you're like, man, I don't want to take that into my brain, I will take it into my brain, and I'll take it out and I'll blow it into yours. That is the service I provide, and it's free, really, because here on YouTube, and you just click away, and then you get mad in the comments. I know how it works. I will see you soon.